Okay, I've been talking to some folk in V2K. I think there's like Tom York was talking about, and others was talking about like this dualistic reality that we're in. As I say, there's a lot of matrix that separates us. I think it's like buzzy bees, like it's really hard to envision. But I keep seeing like this dualistic world that's running at the same time. As I say, the early one says like when it drops this veil, like it'd be like pulling their pants down. In other words, they're doing things in this alternate matrix that are like beyond the pale. Basically, I think it's just like a massive brothel, but like there's a lot of people who are like stuck as hostages, like myself in this. I don't see all of it. They say you can do quite a lot of stuff. It's like reality, but in a unreality, if you know what I mean. And they say that it sort of runs one in the other, and they've managed to like block this reality, or like hide it from us through some sort of vibrational tones or something. I can't remember, but like this tonal reality that's alternate. So it kind of, I don't know if it blocks our vision of seeing this matrix, or I don't know, but there's some sort of weird vibes. I mean, it might be to do with the frequency in our spirit, like the fact that people, have gone secular and they can't see God unless they have those eyes that, like this vibration of God that dwells within us. I don't know, but they've done something to the light that we've been blocked from seeing these realities. But as I say, it's to do with the oil and coming back to God that people see this reality. So it's not only happening on a metaphysical level; it's happening on like a spiritual level as well. So it's it's quite mind blowing what God's actually dropping. As I say, like many of these people are stuck and they're getting raped, and like there's all sorts of stuff, and they've had to follow this mental system of like devil's advocate just to cope with it. And I have to cope with it as well, but I don't see what they do, but they can do realistic things in another reality that actually interferes with your reality. Can make alters and all sorts from your body. But we'll be knowing more about this soon. But it's a bit of a scribbling of knowledge. But as I say, God's been teaching me about like chords, like people chords and stuff like that. As I says, I think in one of my posts, that Tom York was quite aware of my reality, like when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, and he actually kind of followed me a bit like a person on Facebook amongst many others, and actually watched me. They can watch you during the day, in this other reality, sub-reality, can watch what you're doing, can feel what you feel. So, I don't know how that metaphysically works, but I know that Oxford and Cambridge and all that know well about it, in a good and a bad way, and they've used it to the full. So we'll know in due course what exactly the details are.